Some mornings you wake up in a place like this, a place where there are no words, a place where you just want to sit and watch the world go by forever. This camp was exactly one of those places, a place where you could see where God had touched all of the trees with vibrant green as they swayed in the wind, where you could feel the cool, smooth rocks beneath you as you watched the world. That morning we simply sat and lingered and watched as the clouds danced down below us among the mountains. Sometimes you do find places like this along life, a place where you're comfortable and you're at peace and you just want to stay indefinitely. But then you have to remind yourself what it is that brought you to this place, to this moment. Remind yourself that if you don't continue the journey, that you may never have that opportunity to discover another beautiful place, another beautiful moment in time, and enjoy it. This place will never be the same again, will never feel the same again. And to find another place like this, you must continue your journey. And so as the clouds gradually vanished over the mountaintops, we gradually continued our own journey to find... Well, now we were on a journey to try and find syrup because we couldn't have a good breakfast the next morning without it. So we made our next stop in Renovo at the local store, and then continued on into the vast reaches of forest wilderness that are Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania boasts over 2.2 million acres of state forest land across 20 different state forests. Today we started by exploring some of the 217,000 acres of Elk State Forest. Using both Gaia GPS and Onyx Off-Road, we explored several areas of Forest Service roads that showed up on both maps. Even using both Onyx and Gaia GPS, we were often diverted from our intended path by gates or roads that really didn't actually exist. We often found ourselves backtracking along some of the heavily trodden tracks, looking for that elusive trail south that would get us to our destination for the evening. The maps finally both revealed a possible old roadbed that we could take down towards our evening destination. But the road definitely kept getting narrower and narrower. The entrance to the old road was very well hidden. We had to drive both ways just to find it.
30 years ago or better.
Okay. And then on the way back, we couldn't find it until we walked along the road and found the steep trail headed south. This road was clearly marked on both Gaia GPS and OnX, but as we drove along it, we started to discover that this road had probably not been used by a full-size vehicle in many years. Unfortunately, I forgot to take pictures. I have a couple of snapshots, but I'll tell you this road got very narrow very quickly, and we had a trailer and had nowhere to turn around. And at one point, we discovered a rock had slumped down to the trail on the one side, and the ravine dropped sharply off on the other side, and we almost didn't get through. Thanks to the Max Tracks, however, we bridged a gap over the edge of that ravine and continued on our journey. After stopping the shaking in our hands, I did get one tidbit of a video. Thanks, honey.
We don't know what's coming.
No, we don't. With me scouting ahead the rest of that old road, we found no more problem areas and made it out to the main road just fine. We quickly left the main road again and drove back into Sproul State Forest to find a good place for lunch. Trails and roads in this area run from Sproul State Forest to Elk State Forest to Moshannon State Forests and into other forests of Pennsylvania. OnX Off-Road recommended several different trails and highlighted others in the area. We initially started out on the Keating Mountain Trail. From there, we drove up the Dark Hollow Trail, and then onward over to the Table Falls Loop, which is in the Noble Chambers Memorial Forest. There you can learn the tale of nobles and chambers who tragically lost their life in this area. Then we headed north, back into Elk State Forest, where OnX marks the trail as the top of the world. The top of the world boasts views in almost every direction. Be aware while walking around in the fields at the top of the world that rattlesnakes do sometimes enjoy sunning themselves in those tall grasses. So make sure to keep your eyes open. After 2.5 days of being aired down and driving the rough roads, we had accumulated a lot of mud. But now it was time to acknowledge that we needed to air back up and head along a faster road towards our destination for the night, Clear Creek State Forest. Dinner of chicken, noodles, and green beans was soon on the stove, followed by cookies in the oven. After dinner, we took a walk in the woods nearby, where we learned a little bit about the forest management practices in the area. We also found this red F. Bill and I had been admiring the mountain laurel for days. We'd also been admiring all of the ferns in the area. But for the first time this evening, we discovered that these particular ferns are actually an invasive species and are not meant to be here. And that walk wrapped up our third day out in Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining us. Join us tomorrow on our last day of adventure when we seek out an old fire tower. Visit Beartown Rocks. Experience the Clarion River. And stop for a hike at arguably one of the most beautiful spots in the area, Cook Forest State Park and its Forest Cathedral. See you then.